Want help to grow your business? Download BRiN, the world's first business advisor in your pocket. To find out more, visit BRiN.ai or search the App Store today.
Hello and welcome back for another episode of Teach Me Tech. I'm your hostess, Laurel Gray, and I'm joined again by the wonderful and fabulous Scott Gellatly. Hello, Scott.
How you doing?
Yeah,
Good to be here again.
Yeah, you're back again. You just can't get enough.
Oh, I just love this place.
Oh, yeah.
So much good stuff that we cover.
That's right.
You know, how could you leave?
Oh, well, here on Teach Me Tech, we always love talking about the latest technology tools, and Scott has just shared that this one is actually an older software that's been recently bought out by Citrix, and it's called Sharefile. So Scott's here today to talk all about it, and he's from a company called TrackZen, which essentially specializes in Podio, and Scott is one of the top 3 Podio experts in the world.
Thank you.
And he also just knows a lot about cloud technology and has used this software before, so he's going to be running through it with us today. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Laurel.
Woo-woo.
Keen to get into it again.
Here's what we're going to cover today. Firstly, what is Sharefile and why you would need to use it in your business? What is the difference between Sharefile and a Dropbox or a Google Drive that you might be really familiar with already? What exactly does Sharefile allow you to do? The Sharefile homepage and pricing, setting up your free trial account, your initial configuration, installing the desktop file sync, setting up your first folders, inviting your team to share files, and finally, managing security on your Sharefile. All right, so let's get started. What is Sharefile?
Well,
what is it?
Good question. So, in a nutshell, Sharefile is a cloud document storage system. So, where previously you might have had a expensive local file server in your office and an IT team to keep it up to date, Sharefile is your file server in the cloud without all the highly expensive infrastructure that it takes to keep managing that each week. Does that make sense?
Yep. So essentially, rather than having a big old server in your office that takes up power, that you have to maintain, that you have to back up, it's really highly secured cloud file storage.
That's right. And that's the key, actually, really highly secure. So that's what really differentiates it as well. So.
All right, very cool. And Sharefile, I think you mentioned this to me before the episode, is actually a little bit specialized towards specific industries. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. So Sharefile is highly secure and has a lot more functionality around how you can set up permissions and access to different files. It's also got a lot of really cool functionality for managing your file versions and file naming conventions and things like that. So some really powerful stuff, which is why it's actually pretty heavily used in businesses or industries that require compliance.
Ah, okay.
So law firms, accounting and financial industries, as well as engineering and construction.
Right.
Use Sharefile as, I guess, a much lower cost, much lighter and simpler version of some of those enterprise level software tools like Microsoft Active Directory, which is a huge enterprise expensive software that you need to run your local infrastructure. But being in the cloud, which a lot of people feel is quite risky, Sharefile has that extra security, so you can feel safe that things are secure in the cloud.
Absolutely. All right, cool. So it's accountants, law firms, brokers.
Yeah, that's right.
Anyone dealing with really secure information.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's right.
But any company could use this.
Oh, absolutely. Any company could use it if they're looking for a little bit more control and power over a Dropbox or a Google Drive, which incidentally...
Oh, yeah. That's our next slide.
Is our next slide.
So what exactly is the difference between Sharefile and these more common, well-known tools? Of course, we all have got Google Drive because we're all on Google Apps, right?
We love
We're
Google
watching
Apps.
Teach Me Tech, so we love Google Apps. What's the difference, though, between Sharefile and these other tools?
Well, I guess Dropbox in particular aim to be really simple. You know, you can create a Dropbox account, upload a file and share it with someone really, really quickly, but don't have all of the power around who can see that file and how secure that file is. Sharefile really do focus on the security side of things. They're built like Fort Knox. they're not going to be hacked. Your data's really secure, but you've got all of that extra functionality for setting up big file hierarchies and really controlling the permissions at a really minute level, which is what those big enterprise tools used to allow you to do, but for heaps and heaps of money. And now it's kind of available to everybody in a much, much easier to use format than those big tools.
It's incredible, really, how much technology has changed over the last couple of years.
It has. And it's really, I think, totally disrupting the IT industry and that old model of having to spend all this money on a big IT team, where now you can actually get as powerful or even more powerful tools than those old school enterprise things, enterprise software, available to small, medium and small, large businesses really cost effectively. So.
Yeah, it's amazing. So I'm just imagining an example in my mind now of, let's say it's a small bookkeeping business. Even though they might be small, they might only have SMEs as their clients. The information might not be highly secure. Maybe they've got restaurants and are the high share of their clients. They could potentially use Sharefile to store receipts, tax file information, anything that might be private. But then they could still use something like Google Drive, for example, to collaborate, share files on a day-to-day basis with the team. Is that right?
Absolutely, you could use the both. Sharefile has got a lot of collaboration tools as well, which we will take a look at.
Okay.
So it can kind of replace those products, but you nailed it in that, that tax information, you might not feel comfortable putting people's tax information just on Dropbox or something like that, which can have public links and can be really easily shared out. It doesn't have that permission structure that Sharefile's got. So.
Right. Okay. Well, that's cool. So that clarifies for me. Sharefile does have some collaboration aspect.
Yeah, it's quite good for that.
So would you, in any case, use Dropbox or Drive and Sharefile in your business?
There may be examples where the majority of your business data sits on Sharefile, and you use that to, particularly all your client data all sits on there, but maybe you use Dropbox for some things like photos and, really simple data that you just want to share out to customers without all of the setup and the security at the back end.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm asking all these questions because I know that what's going to come up in people's minds as they're watching, but I'm sure it's going to be really clear when we go through the demonstration as well.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm looking forward to that. Cool. So what exactly does Sharefile allow you to do?
Well, that's a good question. And if you think of, in the old days, you may have had a server on site and you had a little, a H drive or a file server drive on your own little IT system. Sharefile basically replaces that entirely and brings it up into the cloud. So you can have all of your files accessible on your computer, but synced up into the cloud so they're available to a total team of people with all those permissions and all of those functions without, again, needing the local hardware. So it's effectively about sharing files. It's about retaining files as well and versioning them and having a little bit of workflow on them as well. So we'll cover off on some of those features in a moment.
Okay, wow, so quite robust.
It is. That's actually probably the best word you could use. Robust is really, when you think of Sharefile, that's the key behind it.
Okay, wow, interesting. Is there anything else that we need to know, I guess, in terms of making a decision conceptually about Sharefile before we jump in and actually have a look at the homepage?
Well, as you'll see when we do jump in there later on, it has got a lot of features, and there are a lot of dials and levers and things to turn to get a lot of power out of it. So Sharefile is certainly, in my mind, a product for companies that don't feel comfortable using a Dropbox or a Google Drive in the cloud. They don't, they feel like they need that extra security. They need the more, I guess, minute permissions management and versioning and things like that. So definitely for people that have compliance at the top of their mind.
Got it. Okay.
Okay.
Beautiful. So are you able to, I guess, run us through the homepage?
Absolutely.
And give us a bit more information about the features? And maybe help us make a decision about where to start if we're, let's say, a small business. Just thinking about maybe converting over to Sharefile.
Okay, great. Well, let's flick over to the laptop screen. So I often say that you can tell a lot about a product just by looking at its homepage.
Yep.
And you can immediately see that Sharefile compared to, say, Dropbox, which is all flowers and illustrations and so forth, we're immediately talking a slightly more corporate type of customer.
Yeah, I can tell by the haircut, Scott.
Yeah, we can tell by that. And the
I can say that because I'm not affiliated with them.
Thank you so much. She said it, not me. But we've immediately got ties and things like that.
Yeah.
And on
Blank
our
express. Oh,
blank,
sorry. No. Keep going.
I was about to say we've got statistics like 99% uptime and maximum security and customized pricing, and even the fact that you can, when you sign up for Sharefile, you get help from real people. It's
That's
not
right.
a big automated back end where you don't, you feel like you're talking to a robot. When you sign up for Sharefile, they expect that you're going to need to speak to someone to actually manage
Really
your
customize
account
it.
and get it set up for you. So
Yep.
it's a bit more of a serious platform.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, if you are a lawyer or an accountant or are in the compliance space, you're definitely going to be having those questions right up front. So
Spot
I guess
on.
that makes sense.
You're going to need to speak to somebody and make sure that it's the right product for you, and that's what Sharefile really excel in.
Yeah,
So,
and it's got that big Citrix name behind it as well, which Citrix are well known for their security.
correct. That's right. They are, and they're also well known for that kind of, sophisticated client base as well. So,
and their wonderful stock image choices.
And their wonderful stock image choices.
Yes.
We improve a little bit down the bottom here, actually. So, immediately they, let me set that up, industrial strength file sharing. When we talk robust, this is where we differentiate from our Google Drive and our Dropbox. We're really talking about a robust product that's meant for those people that really need some, I guess, a sense of confidence that their data is going to be secure. So accounting, legal, financial, people that really need to manage.
To continue enjoying this presentation, download BRiN, the world's first business advisor in your pocket. To find out more, visit BRiN.ai or search the App Store today.